welcome to the Tuesday night Principal Chiro broadcast from DE and Band of Brothers. I'm Dr. Brian Moriarty, your esteemed host for tonight's exciting game. Exciting call with Bill Tackett. Hey guys, sorry, I'm at a softball game here, and we went to extra innings here, so we're up 24-11. So hopefully we hang on, but. Otherwise, we got DE coming up next, not this weekend. This weekend's Easter, but next weekend, there it is. DE, April 13th to the 16th in Sarasota. Then we're back in Atlanta for the next two. And then we're in Clearwater in January. So, shoot. Our lead is going away. I better jump back in the game here. Anyway, we're going to make this short and sweet. D's next weekend. Happy Easter to everyone. And from Queensbury, New York, longtime DE attendee, good friend of ours, Dr. Bill Tackett. Bill, take it away, brother. Love and appreciate you.
All right. Hey, how's it going? I'm Bill Tackett. I'm in upstate New York, right between Lake George and Saratoga. And it was a month ago. Brian asked me if I would speak on this Tuesday night, and I was pretty excited about it. And I'm still excited about it, and I still wonder why he asked me to speak. But I do appreciate it, and it's one of those things where you're always wondering, what can I bring to this table? Because it's such an amazing table, and I am so fortunate that I got involved with DE, and it's really interesting. For the most part, when you're trying to say what has DE done for me, in the grand scheme of things, as chiropractors, we ultimately, it's not just about numbers, but as a measure, it really comes down to numbers to a certain extent. How many patients are you helping a week? And that's what I mean. How many are you helping a week? Because if you're just in it for the numbers, you're probably not gonna see the numbers. At the very least, you're not gonna feel what you can feel by helping people out to the degree that you potentially can. And so I remember I thought it was about 2015 when I first got introduced sort of to DE, and I say sort of because DE is one of those things that you can go to the DE, and that's where that's amazing because you get all jacked up, and there's so many great speakers. But it's almost, for me, it's the friendships that I made and the people that you meet that beyond the actual DE weekend is really where you see most of the benefit of DE, because you can go to a seminar, and if you're just going home with whatever you were listening to, a lot of times that can hang on for a while, but it's usually about a week or two, unless you make some effort. And I was just so fortunate. My first experience with DE wasn't even at a DE seminar. My associate actually was really good friends with Dr. Ed Gigliotti, and I had met Ed, and Ed had a lyceum, and I knew nothing about DE, and he had a lyceum up in Rochester, New York, so we went to that, and I didn't know Judson, I didn't know Peter Amlinger, I didn't know Johnny Balsamo. All I know is that we were there and they spoke, and we went to the bar after, and I made so best of friends. And I did so because I didn't know the caliber of these guys. I was able to be myself. I wasn't intimidated. If I had gone to a DE, saw the big dogs on stage, I just know that it would have affected probably the way I approached them. And the way I approached them that night was just as, hey man, you guys are really cool. And we just hit it off so much. And I'm thankful that's the first way that I met them, because like I say, I think I would have been a little bit intimidated. because they really are. They're pretty powerful people when they're up on stage. And then the first DE, I still didn't know until I went to the first DE, and all of a sudden I'm like, wow, there's a lot of people here, and these guys are like the main headlines, and I saw the caliber of what they actually do. And so, like I said, I was so fortunate I got to meet them, really become friends with them before I knew how big they were in that regards. But anyhow, I definitely feel like um, it would have been in my head. So I say that because I see all the time. You can, even though they're the big dogs on stage and they can even be somewhat intimidating, I see them every time I go and they're talking to everybody. Nobody's better than anybody else. And the objective with all the speakers is how can I help these people? And they don't just talk the talk. They walk the walk and they do spend time with anybody. And I just love that so much about them. And it just makes me feel like, and I realize that DE is the real deal, and it's all about love. And I remember my first DE because, I'm a certain type of person. And I hadn't met a lot of people like me. And that's because, I got God, and that's not the whole thing, but I had God and I love music and I just love the nature that everybody has there. And I wasn't there for more than an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I was like, oh my gosh, these are my people. I was like, I found myself because this is kind of like how I was, I was just like very outgoing and I love, and I always have and I've been fortunate that's just the way I was brought up and and so I definitely, am appreciative. And everybody knows how much you can get from DE, but if you haven't been there, I can tell you, it's something that does change lives all the time. I love Brian Moriarty's story. That's just so heartwarming, and he's such a good dude. But that happens all the time. And so let's go back to numbers. And so DE, I look back, and in 2015, I've been in practice for 20 years, 19 years, whatever. And I looked, and I was seeing 170 to maybe 210. I think I had broken into the 200s. I was feeling pretty cool. But that was gradual over the 20 years. And I feel like I had been there for a little while. I didn't look back farther, but I feel like I had, touching on the 200s, and that was pretty much where I was at, working 36 hours a week. And now when I come back to now, it's now, I hate saying numbers, but at the same time, I'm so thankful that I see 350, and by 350 I say, I looked over last month, 376 one time, 330 something, and so I say 350. I know it's 350 because when I dip down to 320, there's this little thing that goes off in my head, 320s, and then three teens. I'm like, okay, something's going on here. But that's a significant amount to do with DE. And I can tell you that I know struggle. I know it. I know it really well. And I'm so thankful that I struggled. My wife and I, my beautiful wife Becky, and I have three boys, Michael, Ben, and Zach, and 29, 27, and 22. Well, I had 3 years of college to go at NYCC, and Becky, I come home from I think it was a Toastmasters class because I wanted to learn to sort of speak in public, and I'm pretty jacked up because it was a pretty good class, and she's just like looking at me, and she had this, and she wasn't going to tell me, then she just went to the garbage pickup and she showed me we were pregnant. She was pregnant. I don't know why people say we were pregnant. She was pregnant. And oh my gosh, it wasn't planned or anything. And so that was stressful. After a week of being stressed, we were really happy and excited. And then a year before graduation, Becky comes to me and she says, "Honey, just hear me out. We've got 6 months to forbear the loans. If we're gonna be, if we're gonna have another, we gotta do it. We should do it pretty soon. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Because I was pretty stressed out. And we had Benjamin a week before I graduated. My first associate job was $400 a week with just the kind of doctor that it is just numbers. It wasn't about, the caring part of it. It wasn't. I did learn nothing. And I was so stressed out. And her parents didn't have a lot, but they had a lot of love. My mom we didn't have much money, but we had a whole lot of love. But there was no safety net, and we worked through that. And so it was tough. It was difficult, and you really have to be motivated to get outside your comfort zone. And I did that. And I say that because, it's 26 years later and I'm working 26 hours a week, literally 26 hours a week. That's what I work. And having that 350 a week, I have an assistant that just makes my life easier, and CAs that do the same. So it's always a team effort. But speaking of my CAs and my office managers, I've brought my staff 3 times to DE. And coming from New York, that's 5 people counting my wife, and that's expensive. And I'm not wiping $100 bills off my shoulders. I can tell you, even you see 350, you still, you got expenses. And so I definitely felt like it's so worth it. And it was worth it because they take the CA classes. I get most of my employees from my patient base. That's just what I do, and so they already get adjusted chiropractic, but they don't. Once they go to DE, they come back and they're jacked up, and it helps your practice, and that's spending thousands of dollars to bring them there, and it was so worth it. So I'm speaking from experience. When I say DE has such value, and it's really what you can take from it. And sometimes you go to DE, and I know I have, and I just wasn't feeling it, but I wasn't trying to get much. And so you gotta go with the right attitude, and you gotta leave with the right attitude. But it's the friendships that I made over that period of time. And again, Ed Gigliotti, what a great guy. I'm so thankful, to know Ed. He, first started out, I was already trying to do upper cervical, but wasn't too sure about it. But just meeting Judson and those guys, I ended up doing the class with Eddie Martinez and Peter and Judson. We went to Judson's and learned more about the upper cervical. And so that carries over into seeing, being a better chiropractor, and then you're going to see more patients because you're going to help more people and they're going to refer more people. That's all DE. Judson, he's somebody that I wanted to know what he knew, and so I did some coaching with Judson, and he helped me through some tough times, and he's just such a caring individual, and he's still always looking out for me, and he says the most beautiful things. He gave me a text right before I came on here, and I can read it for you, and I know he won't mind. It says, "Don't suck." But it does, but he's a character. I love him, but you meet people, and it's one of those things. Peter, I wanted to know where he got all his damn wisdom, so I'm doing some coaching with Peter. And again, you get out of it what you put into it. And these people are just so special. And I mean, I wrote a bunch of stuff down, and it just looks like a bunch of words. I procrastinate on preparing for things. But I do want people to know, especially if you really haven't stepped into the DE. I know I'm preaching to the choir, so I mean, I can't really shed a lot of light on DE that you don't already know. But if perchance you're debating, or you've even only been to one, and maybe you were just shy and you didn't really feel like you got as much out of it, I can tell you that it's inevitable. The energy that's there is going to rub off on you. You just got to get out of your own head. And I say that from experience. Getting out of my own head, I've been trying to get out of my own head for 56 years. But really, the people there and all the speakers, I just love them all. They're just like so caring, and if you're just really listening, you'll realize that these people are just all about the love. And that's why I say my first DE, I was like, oh my gosh, these are my people. And I've been numerous times where, you know, I still get intimidated sometimes, and I still, sometimes you don't want to go up and talk to somebody because you don't know if they remembered you, and that's just being in your own head. And I can't stress enough how important it is to just realize that everybody there has your best interest in mind, and they're there for one reason. It's not for a paycheck because they ain't getting paid. They're there because they love, and that's really that is something special about this. I'm just looking because I know if I forget something, um I feel like I don't want to ramble on. um I'm not going this year because I got a good excuse. I work at the Masters, so I go to the Masters every year, and I'm a player escort. I got a great gig. I work for the security, and we just get the players back and forth from 18 and the clubhouse, and so I got to get on a plane tomorrow at 5:15 in the morning, and I'm there till Sunday. I come back for 1 week, and then I go to Mexico because my oldest is getting married to his beautiful, beautiful bride, and we got 85 people going to an all-inclusive, and it's going to be another week. So I got a good excuse this time. I'm gonna be someplace else, and my boy's getting married, and I'm so thankful for that. And I know I only touched on God in the beginning for a quick second, and DE isn't all about God, but I can tell you, when you're successful and you get successful, you can't help but realize that God probably had a whole lot to do with it. And so I can tell you that when these people are talking about God, it's because it's hard not to give props to where props are due, and that's just why I'm just so thankful that I do have God, and Jesus is my God. And I'm just saying that because I want to. And I got my wife, and he gave my wife to me when she was 14 and I was 17. And I'm blessed. And I still struggle. I struggle in every way. But I can tell you, DE is someplace that helps me with struggles. And so, yeah, I'm thankful. And I think I did about 20 minutes, which, that's what I heard, it's 18 to 20 minutes. So that's what I got. I also want to know why Brian Moriarty is saying that it's a extra innings and it's 24 to 11. I don't know why. He'll explain that one later. Somebody had a killer inning, but I hope he's having a good time. And he's got some young kids, and it's great to see him put his baseball hat on backwards and go back to the game. I miss those days. I'm looking forward to grandbabies. But when you do get to where you can see some patients and make enough money to really enjoy yourself, and do things like that, and even if you don't, those kids are only young for a certain amount of time. I'm not sure how I got on that, but I really don't know how to end this because I'm just looking at myself on the screen. So anybody that wants to jump in anytime, let's do this. What up, Brian?
Hey, all right, we won our game. We had 8 fielders for the final inning because I had to get on this call, so I had to pull myself out of the game. But you know what? We won.
Nice. 24 to 11.
No, they got a few back. It was like 24-14. So
that was a big inning in extra innings.
Yeah, we had a 14-run inning in the top. So
that's a big one.
yeah. So anyway, I know you said that you love the Brian Moriarty story, but I love the Bill Tackett story, man. I love listening to that, and I share a lot of your experiences as well. That annoying Ed Gigliotti's a great friend of mine, and I was with you on that Mission Upper Cervical with Peter and Judson, and it was funny how everything you were saying was bringing back memories. I think most of the people on this call have gotten that text or whispered "Don't suck" from Judson. So
I love that.
it was. You were bringing
He's a
back some great
lover.
memories, man, of all these years of DE, and you're so blessed, man. You're so blessed.
I am.
It's so great to hear the story, and wow, the friggin' Masters every year. You were my hero. That's my
Yeah. Well,
lifelong
I
goal.
say every year. Yeah. It's been
Yeah.
7 years.
I just want to go there once. Okay, I keep begging Chris Walker to let me stay at his house, and you go every year to work it. That is so cool, man. But
Yeah.
what a
It is.
blessing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
but anyway, thank you so much for being on, man. Totally understandable about DE. You can I'm getting attacked by bugs here. You can go to that wedding. That sounds awesome. Go to the Masters, and hopefully we'll catch up with you in Atlanta at the end of July. Okay.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, great call tonight. Thanks everybody for being on. That was Bill Tackett, awesome guy, and we'll see everybody next week. Next week, DE week, gonna be a big one, guys. So we'll start off with the Tuesday night call. That's how we start out DE week. All right, guys, have a great night. God bless. Happy Easter.
Fun. Take care now. Happy Easter.